Welcome to this beautiful Mind Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something deeply personal. We are unpacking Module 5 of Positive Psychology. And honestly, this isn't just about clinical data or, memorizing psychological terminology. It's really about the core of the human experience. We're looking at how we navigate the complex, messy, and sometimes incredibly painful reality of just being alive. It's about how we manage to find our footing when the ground beneath us suddenly feels completely unstable. When life becomes difficult, what gives people the strength to continue? Why do some individuals find peace even during suffering? Just pause for a second and really sit with those questions. Because every single human being on this planet faces pain, uncertainty, loss, and immense challenges. It's literally the one universal truth we all share, no matter your culture or your generation. But if you look closely at how people actually respond to hardship, you start to notice something truly remarkable. While some folks are understandably just crushed by the sheer weight of their circumstances, unable to see a path forward, others manage to remain hopeful. They stay emotionally grounded, even when everything around them feels like it's falling apart. Well, positive psychology suggests that the secret to this profound, enduring inner strength, it lies in spirituality. Now, the word spirituality gets thrown around a lot these days, right? But what is it really? At its absolute core, spirituality refers to an individual's search for meaning, purpose, values, and a connection to something much larger than oneself. It's entirely centered around profound self-reflection and personal growth. It's about having the courage to hit pause, step back from the constant noise of daily life, and ask yourself the really big, sometimes intimidating questions. Questions like, why am I here? Or what gives authentic meaning to my life? And what genuinely makes all of this worthwhile? You see, spirituality isn't about having all the answers handed to you on a silver platter. It's an active, deeply personal, and lifelong pursuit of those answers. Now, here's the distinction that trips a lot of us up. It's really important to separate two concepts that people frequently confuse: religion and spirituality. They definitely overlap, and for a lot of people, they're deeply intertwined. But fundamentally, they are different. Religion generally involves organized beliefs, specific rituals, historical traditions, and formal worship practices, usually within a defined community. Spirituality, on the other hand, focuses much more heavily on internal meaning, your personal purpose, your core values, and inner growth. It is absolutely crucial to understand that a person can cultivate a deep, powerful spirituality and experience massive inner growth with or without following a specific organized religion. So while many experience both together, spirituality is just an inherently human trait. It's this wellspring of resilience that is accessible to anyone, anywhere, regardless of their background. So how does this fit into a broader scientific framework? Well, positive psychology considers spirituality a major, measurable contributor to our overall well-being. It helps us achieve what psychologists call flourishing. And flourishing isn't just surviving the day-to-day grind. It's thriving. It means living a life filled with vitality and true engagement. Spirituality promotes profound hope, emotional balance, inner peace, and a really resilient optimism. Spiritual individuals actually frequently report a much stronger sense of purpose and a deeper overall life satisfaction. Think of it like a heavy, steadfast anchor. When the unpredictable storms of life hit, and let's be real, they always do, having a strong spiritual foundation keeps you from being completely swept away. It allows you to keep your emotional balance even in the most turbulent waters. Faith provides us with essential confidence and hope when we're staring down the terrifying unknown. Meanwhile, purpose gives clear, actionable direction to our lives. Think of purpose as your internal compass. When you have a strong, unwavering sense of purpose, you just naturally handle difficulties better because you've got a broader perspective on things. You experience greater, more sustained motivation because you know exactly why you're doing the work, even when that work is totally exhausting. You demonstrate incredible resilience, bouncing back from inevitable setbacks with a renewed sense of determination. And ultimately, you consistently achieve a higher state of well-being. Having a purpose elevates our daily existence from just getting by and checking boxes to truly, deeply living. But let's be real for a second. The true test of this entire framework is how it plays out when things go horribly wrong. Because it's incredibly easy to feel centered and peaceful when life is comfortable, right? But people naturally turn towards spirituality during severe hardships. Whether it's a sudden illness, a devastating career failure, the profound grief of losing someone you love, or just navigating major unwanted life changes, spirituality becomes a vital psychological coping mechanism. Why? Because it helps us accept difficult, painful experiences rather than just exhausting ourselves by fighting against them in vain. It helps us find a shred of meaning within our suffering, to maintain our hope when it feels completely irrational to do so, and to develop a deep, lasting emotional strength that literally carries us forward. Let's look at how this manifests in everyday life. Starting with a scenario many of us know all too well. Imagine a student who has studied tirelessly for months for a massive career-defining exam, only to look at the screen and see a failing grade. The immediate physical and emotional reaction is usually crushing disappointment. Their heart drops, they feel a profound sense of worthlessness, and they're just overcome by this paralyzing feeling that their entire future is ruined. They might feel like their whole identity is tied to that single letter grade. But for a student who engages in spiritual reflection, that catastrophic narrative completely shifts. They use their spiritual grounding to reframe the disappointment. Instead of viewing the failure as a permanent reflection of their self-worth, they're able to take a breath. They see it as a powerful stepping stone, an incredibly difficult, incredibly painful, but ultimately necessary opportunity for personal growth and redirection. Or consider the working professional. We live in this relentless, hyper-connected, high-demand world. Imagine an employee who is completely overwhelmed by workplace stress. They're facing a mountain of endless deadlines, immense pressure from management, constant notifications buzzing on their phone, and the very real looming shadow of severe burnout. Their heart is racing before they even open their laptop in the morning. Without a grounding practice, that kind of chronic stress can completely consume a person. But let's say this professional actively uses spiritual tools. Perhaps they spend 10 intentional minutes in their car practicing meditation before walking into the building. Maybe they engage in prayer, or simply sit in quiet reflection with a cup of coffee before the absolute chaos of the workday begins. By doing so, they don't magically erase their emails or change the heavy demands of their boss, but they successfully regain their internal center. They reclaim their emotional balance, allowing them to step into the chaos with a calm, clear, and totally focused mind. Then there is the incredibly poignant reality of individuals coping with severe, life-altering physical illness. This is perhaps one of the most agonizing tests of the human spirit. When your physical body is failing, when you're stripped of your bodily autonomy in a sterile hospital room, it is so easy to just surrender entirely to darkness and despair. Yet time and time again, we see individuals facing terrifying diagnoses who lean heavily on their spirituality. Through their deep connection to something greater than their physical selves, they manage to maintain this radiant, almost inexplicable hope. They find deep, profound meaning in their lives and relationships, despite their physical suffering. Their spirituality provides a quiet, untouchable internal freedom. It's a sanctuary that illness simply cannot touch. So you might be asking, okay, how do I actually cultivate this? The beauty of this psychological framework is that it's highly practical and accessible to literally anyone. Here are some everyday spiritual practices that you can adopt to promote deep self-awareness and inner calmness. It can be formal prayer or a structured daily meditation practice. It can be the simple daily habit of gratitude, like just keeping a small journal by your bed to write down 3 things you're thankful for. It involves quiet, intentional reflection. Sometimes it's as simple as spending time in nature, turning off your phone, and feeling physically connected to the earth. It is powerfully activated through service to others, too. Lifting ourselves up by selflessly lifting someone else out of their struggle. And of course, it's found in mindfulness, the practice of simply being truly, entirely present in the current moment, without any judgment. Bringing this all back to our scientific foundation, positive psychology studies exactly these strengths. It looks at the precise mechanisms that help people truly flourish in the real world. Spirituality is ultimately a measurable, actionable tool. It helps us understand ourselves deeply and cope with life's unpredictable challenges. It actively encourages and builds meaning, purpose, hope, compassion, resilience, and inner peace. By engaging in these everyday spiritual practices, we aren't just making ourselves feel a little better for a few minutes. We are actively rewiring our minds. We are building neurological pathways that make us fundamentally stronger, more empathetic, and deeply rooted in a purposeful existence. As we wrap up this exploration, I want to leave you with a core thought that perfectly captures the heart of what we've discussed today. Spirituality does not eliminate suffering. It gives meaning to suffering and helps individuals move forward with hope, purpose, and inner peace. It doesn't magically erase the hard parts of life, but it gives us the beautiful, necessary strength to walk right through them. So I'll leave you with this question. When the next storm arrives in your life, what anchor will you use to hold your self-study? Thank you for watching Beautiful Mind. If you enjoyed this explainer, please like, share, and subscribe.